What's going on, everyone? So this is an interesting thread, but it's something to talk about because I want to be a little bit more up to date on some more things about PlayStation and Xbox lately too. I know I haven't posted much about Xbox probably in the past few days, but new console Nintendo have been fun. Sony came out with some news. I'll be on that with the game showcase, and there's going to be some entertainment with that and all of that. Just been trying to diversify my page, and for all of you that supported me, that stuck with me because you liked me as a content creator and individual, I appreciate that. All the support, thank you a lot, guys. Much love for that. Now, um, it says Sony's PlayStation 5 and Microsoft's Xbox Series X game output has been equally good and received, with both having the same average Metacritic score on their console. Now, when he's talking about this, they're talking about every game this generation from the beginning all the way to this point right now. And since Microsoft is having such a good output this year, they definitely did catch up compared to Sony not putting much output the last 2.5 to almost 3 years. So, but at first, Sony was winning very well because Microsoft had no games to show. You know what I mean? At first, everything was just cross gen. But if we just want to talk about video games and not hardware, yeah, this year Microsoft is clearly having a better year than Sony, despite them making the dumbest decision with the hardware price up. But like I said before, but if we still want to just look at that output, because like I told you before, I could still be upset with companies or just not be a fan of them. It's like I'm not really a fan of Sony, but I still have PlayStation, and if they do well, I'm still gonna say positive because I have to be honest with myself. You know what I mean? I can't be fake and lie because I want to make a corporation look good. How's it going to benefit me? It's not. Um, but are we ready to go down here? Okay, so let's take a look. We ready? Starting off, we're going to start from the highest. Astrobot, 94 meta. Okay, Microsoft doesn't have a game that can do that. This is where I say that quality-wise, Sony's going to win because their in-house studios they've been working with are doing this too, and they have more sales. Um, I'm not talking about just hardware, I'm talking about software, but obviously you need to sell hardware so you can sell your software. You have to have a base, and a base needs to want to buy your stuff. So the problem with this game is that it does have everything, but it's missing that sales metric to make it complete like Mario. Like, if this game sold 10 million, I'd be like, damn, okay. Mario finally has like some sort of competition in a way now, you know what I mean? But when you're doing all that and a majority of your game is Mario, which is still a great game, and you only sell 1.5 million, your metric for like power moving industry, like I've been talking with, slow people about this earlier who can't understand this metric because they don't understand that when you compare something, you have to compare things in totality. Like if I'm comparing Astrobot to Mario, I need to see what Astrobot did for PlayStation 5 consoles. I need to see what Astrobot's Metacritic is. I need to see what Astrobot sold. I need to see how original and good these devs are. How much have they done for the gaming industry? Like when we're comparing, what is this game done for the gaming industry in totality? Did it measure all metrics? And you got some people that really don't understand that simple concept because it's like it's dominating. It's so like this many copies. That's domination on the market. That's a huge metric for success. You can fund more games now. All this sort of thing. Like you don't have that. You have nothing. So Sony was able to get away with that because their base is not conditioned to buy games like this. That's the thing. If this was a Nintendo-like world, a Nintendo world, they would support this. And y'all know it's true. They would because they have a kind of harmony and balance in their community. In the PlayStation community, it's mostly just supporting other people's games. They have their first-party games too, like that they buy and all that. But like this right here will sell. You know what I mean? Because it's like their flagship. And once again, 94 meta, and it sold a good amount. This actually sold like, what, 15, 20? Where's God of War Ragnarok? We're going to go through all the games. God of War Ragnarok sells. I know they're not going to hide that. It sold over 15 million. Okay. That's pretty good. So, they don't have anything that can compete with this. What, Hellblade? No. God of War is too powerful. You know what I mean? And I'm just honest. You know what I mean? So like, no. Demon Souls? No, they don't have anything. They don't have anything that can do anything against that. Well, used to. I mean, unless like when the new Gears comes out. Is Halo? No, I mean this doesn't have multiplayer though, so it's not the same. But I'm saying when it had multiplayer, yeah, I mean at that time it was competing with Gears, so this is kind of like a part one remake, but there's no multiplayer. Whereas like Gears is getting a remaster, but it has multiplayer. So, but still, Last of Us won Game of the Year, and you know what I mean they didn't beat it, so it's like it won. Horizons. I mean, Microsoft doesn't really have a game that you would say they would try to compete with Zelda or anything like that. Like we're gonna go to their games too, but I'm trying to see what they could have that could match this. You know what I mean? Because I'm thinking and I'm like, yeah, you don't really have a game like that. And Indiana Jones isn't like that, so I wouldn't compare that. Though you have Indiana Jones, that's a quality game. You know what I mean? Because I'd be like, okay, I could say that I wouldn't say that it's better than Uncharted, but Indiana Jones can compete, but it's not going to give you those sales. Whereas Uncharted are like 20 million, some of them are like 10, 15. It's like, see that full metric, because when you compare, it's like, but what did you do in the industry? What did you do on the market? You know what I mean? You have to do the full comparison. That's how a professional does it. You know what I mean? So let's go down. Um, Look, I don't know if you guys know, but there's a game called Psychonauts 2 on Xbox that Microsoft they have Double Fine. They got to deal with them. I would say that that game was just as good as Ratchet and Clank. I had a platinum on this, and when I tell you something, I play both, and I beat the hell out of Psychonauts 2. Loved it. Great like platforming where you can kind of like fight. When like compared to Mario or anything, I would say like it be a little bit closer to this. But even then, man, that's kind of hard. But what I'm saying is that they have some game kind of Forza. Now, Forza is not going to sell like GT because GT sold 15 million on PlayStation. Forza never did sell 15 million. They didn't even report 10 million. But still, in a way, they can go head to head. And I honestly prefer Forza any day of the week over GT7. Mario Kart just coming out. We got some debates with people. Literally just set the bar on a new standard. Blows past GT7 and Forza. No competition. I'm telling y'all, amazing. It's a new meta. You know what I mean? Games do that all the time. So wait for some other games to come out to compete. But this is 2025, and after what I've experienced, yeah, man, they set a new bar. The verticality too is mind blowing. Like all the way from like on roofs to sides of roofs, underneath roofs, on beaches. It's amazing. Like it's almost like the map's kind of like an RPG map where you have these different layers of to being able to like race on. It's so good. But yeah, I mean, I honestly always found this series boring, but I respect it, and I know how good it is. In reality, it's number two when we talk about statistics and what have you done for the racing genre in totality since the beginning to now. Forza can't overshadow GT because it's been around too long. Same thing with Mario Kart. You know what I mean? Like definitely Mario Kart. I mean, it's the pillar. You know what I mean? It's like the top. Um, so yeah, but still it can have competition though. Like right now, if we want to talk about this generation, I'm gonna still choose Forza over GT7. That's me though. You know what I mean? But I still gotta respect those stats too. Just saying, man. Returnal. No, they don't have anything like that. Sony actually has some unique IPs, but this be doing some stuff. They screwed up this sales of this game by putting it at 69. It should have been $49 and it was sold way more. They don't really have anything for this. But oh, you know what? Microsoft could have that Blade game, but guess what? That's not going to be exclusive, so it's going to be everywhere. So they don't have anything against them that they have that can counter. That's the thing that's hard. But I still would say that they still have Blade because they have Bethesda. Horizon, that's a remaster. Helldivers 2, Stellar Blade, no. All this other stuff, yeah. Rise of Ronin. All right. Now here's Microsoft's top-rated game. This is what they have as a pillar. And like I said, I'm going to choose this over Gran Turismo. I, I, I don't know. It's good, but you know what I mean. It's not anything that makes an impact in the industry, but I still respect it for what it is. It's the best in its class. They've been with that for a while. Halo Infinite fell off. It doesn't like do anything. It doesn't have nowhere near the power it used to be. I missed the Halo Bungie, but they're gone too. No longer there. But amazing game. Even went to PlayStation. This is the game I was talking about, Psychonauts 2. This is a good game. Like I said, I mean, it's not hitting Uncharted metas and sales, but at least they have something that can somewhat compete. I call this like a B plus tier, where Uncharted's like A, you know, A and A up. Pentiment, Age of Empires. No, Sony don't have games like that. Doom: The Dark Ages. Honestly, damn, it's down to 84. That sucks. Oh no, never mind. That's Forza. Um, well, they're not having any luck on shooters lately, so no, honestly. But I think Metroid Prime 4 is going to win game shooter of the year. I thought this would get closer to 90 meta. It's kind of disappointing that it didn't. I know why it didn't. I beat the game. Like I said, I loved it. It was too easy, though, compared to Doom Eternal. And Doom Eternal was more like raw gameplay. And it was the most hardcore Doom game, for sure. But all three of them are badass games. And it's a badass trilogy. Like I said, I mean, this is more closer, honestly, to GT, but it can't compete because it's realistic. Whereas Forza Horizon is more like arcadey. That's something that people just didn't understand. Black Ops 6, eh? But no, they don't. They don't have no counter. But it's multi-platform. They grab. It's like, oh yeah, I'm kind of interested. So the Starfield, they didn't work like they thought, so that's going to come to PlayStation. Sony has games. You know what I mean? I mean, they got. I don't know. You know what? What the hell happened to that Knights of the Old Republic, y'all? What happened to it? It's kind of weird, right? It kind of just disappeared. But no, I don't think they have anything like this. Naughty Dog also has more games on the corner. We know Wolverine's coming. Microsoft has more games too. But we're basically comparing this generation. So looking across this generation, the weird thing though is that a lot of those games never came to Xbox, but Sony keeps them. So Sony still has more of an advantage. Oblivion remaster, I mean 82. But that, yeah, I guess this makes sense. Unreal Engine 5, man. Grounded was okay. Billion Remaster is cool. Gears Tactics was okay. Age of Mythology is a good series. Hellblade 2 was okay. Avowed was mid. South of Midnight mid. Minecraft Legends mid. 68 under mid. Modern Warfare 3 very mid. They have too many mid games. Sony has, in totality, Sony's games are better overall. I mean, they just have too much higher metas. Um, when I'm talking about, like, we're talking about the highest quality. Obviously, Microsoft is delivering better quality this year, and they have more to deliver. We're gonna see what happens with Ghost, but overall, Microsoft's year is just too good for Sony to even try to scrap up something to try. They'd just be better off focusing on bettering their next year because they canceled too many games. But for the whole generation, yeah, obviously overall, PlayStation is gonna take the win. Definitely, if you're saying I got your games now too, and I still have all these games, you can't have them, and I'm outselling you, and some of my stuff still sells. Yeah, overall, like we said, metrics, obviously PlayStation won. Everybody knows that, though. It's not anything new. But Microsoft at least has shown some sort of turnaround compared to the ditch they were in before, compared to Sony internally. I'm not comparing Sony to Microsoft right now. What I mean is like Sony like 3 years ago in-house compared to Sony now. You know what I mean? It's like you didn't like improve. Microsoft at least like is trying to take a step out of the ditch, publishing wise in some sort of sense. Hardware, no. They're just telling people to grab shovels and help them with the Xbox hardware, and that's what they want to do. Like they're basically making that pretty obvious. You know what I mean? And Satya does not give a damn about that. He's more about third-party publishing, money, richness, profit. That's it. And AI, which I would not vote for that. You understand what I understand about Microsoft AI? That's not what you want. Trust me. I promise you. But that's what you're going to have to accept with Satya Nadella. Not really a fan compared to the way Phil Spencer views gaming. Like, you have to understand what I mean from a gaming perspective. That I prefer Phil Spencer for Xbox gaming than when I would Satya Nadella. But I would choose Satya Nadella to get more rich and make more money. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, he is better for that. That's pretty obvious. We've seen the value of Microsoft since he's got in there. He has that wicked intellect. Um, so he can make those type of moves. But when it comes to video games, he didn't know what he's doing. And he's not a creative type of person to make video game creatively rich. That's not what he's there for. He's there to make it like the Microsoft Corporation. You see what I mean? So he'll benefit you with Monopoly and Game Pass, but don't look to him if you want gaming to like grow and be healthy and be creative and soulful. That's not going to come from Microsoft. And I think everybody knows that in a ways. They have to give you some type of like service benefit with a lot of money. You know what I mean? Um, and even though I know that they're still having a better year than Sony, because I still have to admit that, regardless, I like to face the truth, like I tell people. Even though Nintendo's going to complete the end of this year with total domination, because it's like dude, they're gonna sell so much hardware. It's not even funny, and they're gonna sell so much software consistently. It's not even funny. The attach ratio is gonna be nuts. They're gonna win all NPDs. All third-party publishers are going to them. Though they even came out in June, and they didn't even come out in January, February, March, April, and May. 5 months. Even then, that later in the year, they're still gonna take over. That's how dominant they're gonna be, starting now all the way into the holidays. And they're gonna sell the most. They have too much. Like the thing about Microsoft is they're doing very good as a publisher. I love what they're doing compared to what they're doing, but they can't compete with Nintendo's numbers. Even trying to go to PC and Xbox and PlayStation, they ain't gonna even be able to get their sales because the Switch one is still selling too. What I mean by that is like, for example, Mario Kart World may be like a 90-some% attach ratio, right? And let's say the Switch sells like 15, 16 just this year. That game could be close to that, like 12, 13, 14 million sales. Just that game by itself. Pokemon's going to sell 10 million. Metroid's going to sell millions. Those Zelda games are going to sell millions still because they got next gen updates. Donkey Kong's going to sell millions. They're going to get metas that's going to be in the 90s. You got the Kirby Air Riders, that's going to sell millions. You know what I mean? So, like, they have all those games, and they got like solid games coming out too, and more games that are going to be announced. And third-party games going to be selling millions too. So they're going to make a big jump, and I'm telling you, gaming in general needs this spike. So, and it's good because it's almost like competition has now been taken to even another bracket. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, Sony, now it's time for you to get competitive and even more better. Okay, Microsoft, now it's time for you to get competitive and even more better. Now I want all of you to give it all you have as much as you can. Microsoft, do what you can. You know what I mean? They obviously can't play a certain game. But even then, I still would, like, deep down, I would want to see a creative splash fest. But I don't expect much creativity from Microsoft. I can't. They're not creative. Everybody knows this. They just buy stuff and they have AI. So that's not creativity. If they were creative, then it wouldn't have been narrowed down to Halo and Gears, and then Forza just only being the game that didn't fall off, and then you had to go grab a bunch of like companies and get them because you weren't creative. You couldn't do it. You know what I mean? Like if you're creative, you could do it. But like I'm gonna keep creating so much of it's like, yeah, look at all that success from coming from all that creativity. That's why Nintendo's insanely good because it's all in house. They've been doing it. So that's the mistake that Sony realized when Microsoft took Activision from them. If you had an in-house like that, they couldn't have monopolized it. See, you can beat Microsoft by being strong in-house and selling a lot. They know they can't buy the gaming industry. You can't get in first place by trying to hit the buy button. That's why I love about the gaming industry. Even if you like Xbox, you should like that. Because the gaming industry is not some soul you just hit a buy button on. It's a lot more than that. It's a lot more deeper than that and complicated. And that's good. That's not bad. And it's good that Nintendo is here. And that gaming is growing. And developers are about to make more money. Developers that you care about on the consoles that you're playing out third party are about to get more profit to fund future projects like CD Projekt Cyberpunk 2, you know what I mean? Witcher 4, though obviously it was a tech demo, but you still get what I mean. Just all of them, they're coming. Capcom, all of them. And all those other projects are going to get boosted and empowered and supported more because they're making profit off of this console. As a gamer, you should want gaming to be more healthy. If not, you're not a true gamer to me. You're just a fanboy that wants one platform to do good. I don't like people like that because they're stupid to me. Like, it's like you need to realize what's important for the gaming industry and sometimes move your bullshit aside. You know what I mean? And be like, yeah, but at the end of the day, like, I see that type of unity and synchronicity. But you won't get that from them because they're not unity and they're not synchronicity. They're negative bullshit. Right? That's why I be seeing some people come to my channel and leave comments. I know some of the people that left because those were the people that wanted me to just continue doing what I'm doing. And I can't go anywhere else and have fun. Like I'm supposed to be trapped in one console ecosystem and only support that and be positive about it and be dishonest with myself when I always play all. Yeah, no. I don't mess with those people. Sounds very boring and limited. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this. This was a comparison video to show that let's go ahead and do this full comparison between Microsoft and Sony. And then let's talk about the state of the industry. Let's talk about sales a little bit. Let's talk about like metrics, because I'd be telling people about like the metas, metrics, all this type of stuff, like what it takes to say that this was successful on all scales. And if something's going to compete with this, it needs to compete with it in all those sales. You'll have some people to try to bring like games up to certain other games, so like, but in all metrics, it falls short. over time. There's some metrics that it's really good at. But you're trying to you're trying to play a game where you just not gonna like, because when the full metrics are shown, you're gonna run away, and that's what they'd be doing. But all right, y'all, have a good day. Enjoy whatever platform you're playing. All are fun and good. Later, y'all.